You've just had a baby and suddenly your body doesn't feel like yours anymore. You've got bleeding, changes to your hair, your mood, you name it. So many changes occur after the baby's born, and we're often just left to figure it out. In this video, I'm going to tell you what's actually okay and what's not. I want to break down the changes that happen in the 4th trimester after the baby's born so that you're not left wondering if what you're going through is normal or not. I'm Remy, I'm an obstetrics and gynecology doctor. I'm also a mother of 2 and I have gone through this journey before myself. And I'm on this channel to guide you because too many women are just left to figure it out on their own. And I was one of them. But the 4th trimester isn't just about recovery. Your body's reversing 40 weeks of change. And that's not going to happen in 6 weeks. So that's why the 6-week check that they presume where you're meant to be back to normal is bogus. I've got a free guide for you to download about the postpartum red flag symptoms that you need to be aware of so that you can seek help on time. So in the 40 weeks of pregnancy, your body has gone through changes. We all know that. Your blood volume goes up. The way your heart rate responds is different. Your breathing has changed. Your hormones have shifted. Your brain has changed in a way that we don't speak about enough. We say baby brain, but what does that actually mean? So many changes have happened over 40 weeks. I think it's only reasonable that we give our bodies more than 6 weeks to go back to normal, don't you think? We can't just snap back. That's unrealistic. And what actually happens is a gradual reset. And if you're not anticipating this, it can often feel like something's not right. The problem is we just don't talk about it enough. So let's start with the bleeding and the uterus after a baby's born. So again, over the 40 weeks, that thing has stretched. You remember how big your baby was. You remember how big your tummy was. And now the uterus that was enlarged to carry that beautiful human being has to do its job and has to shrink back down to being about this size, which is tiny. When I examine women in the postnatal period, I want to make sure that your uterus is about the size of a belly button. But over the next few weeks, it needs to go from being like the belly button level right down behind your pubic bone, if that's where it started, of course, because people have large uteruses for many other gynecological conditions. And so the way that the body does this is it gives you contractions, so you get the after pains, and also in this discharge, bloody discharge, what we call lochia. So what is normal in this stage is the cramping pain, the after pains, which might even be made worse by breastfeeding. If you are having sex, it might even be made worse by having sex because that releases oxytocin, which again causes the uterus to contract. And the lochia, so the bloody discharge will go from sort of bright red to dark brown to discharge over a course of weeks. And the length of time that will happen will be different for different people. But what is not normal is if your bleeding is getting heavier, if you're soaking a pad in less than an hour, if you're passing a blood clot that's bigger than a 50p pence or a 2-centimeter coin, then those things are not normal, and that's when you would need to seek help. If you're getting the discharge that's coming is now smelly and quite offensive, that could be a sign of an infection that needs to get treated, so you would need to see somebody for that. And if you had bleeding that was getting slow and then sped up, or you had a huge episode of soaking, that again would not be normal and could signal an infection or a little bit of placenta left behind. And those are the types of things that you would need to go and see a clinician about. I have a video on postpartum bleeding that I would recommend that you watch because that will detail as well what type of bleeding you can expect to have after having a delivery. So moving on, not very far, in the same area, to the pelvic floor and the stitches that you might have. I do have a video on what to expect with stitches if you have a vaginal birth or if you have a cesarean section, which I will link in this video also. It would be normal for you to have some pain and some soreness and maybe even some mild stinging. And at that point, that's why we recommend that you take regular painkillers like the paracetamol, the ibuprofen, feeling some heaviness as well early on. You know, oftentimes going to the toilet might be something that you hesitate about. Things like using warm water to reduce the sting as you're going to the toilet, but making sure that you're patting the area nice and dry so that the stitches heal well. But what you expect is that gradually you're getting better week by week. You're not moving backwards. You're not getting worse. It's all getting better. If the pain is getting worse instead of better, that's not the one. That's something you would need to discuss with your midwife. If you notice that the wound starts to gape open, you get a smelly discharge from it, sticky discharge from it, again, your midwife or your doctor needs to see you at that point because that could be a really strong sign for an infection. And if you have incontinence that's not improving, having leaking episodes from the bladder or from the bowel, that would also not be normal. And it's something that I recommend that you flag. I also detail that in the booklet that I linked for you down below. Another thing you can have is a prolapse. I have a video that talks about the importance of the pelvic floor, but a prolapse is where the vagina, which is inside, starts to come out onto the outside, either because the uterus itself is coming down, or the bladder's coming down, or the back passage is coming down. And that I would recommend would need review by a physiotherapist. Like pelvic floor physio after you've had a baby is necessary. I don't know why it's not offered to all women, but actually what we know is over time, if you do nothing about the pelvic floor after having a baby, there is then risk of having things like a prolapse later on. So make sure that if you're having any symptoms like that, that you flag it quite soon. Other things to be aware of during the pregnancy is that your body just holds so much more fluid, like your blood volume increases by about 50%. And over time, that needs to go somewhere. And again, the 6 weeks is a myth. It might take longer for the extra fluid that's accumulated to pass. So what you might find is that you're sweating at night. So that again would be normal, like your hormones have completely dropped off. So sweating is not an unusual thing to experience in the first few days and weeks. You might get the swelling that you've noticed in your hands or your ankles around your legs begin to drop off as well. And find that you're going to the toilet often to pass urine because your body's just trying to get rid of all that fluid. What's not normal is if you notice that the swelling is persistent. So say that both legs are swollen together and now one of those legs seems to be more swollen than the other. That would be a cause for concern. That's again listed in the free guide that I've linked for you down below. If you're getting shortness of breath or you're getting headaches and the swelling's persistent, that could be a sign of a high blood pressure disorder. And again, those are things that you'd want to raise with your midwife and with your doctor. Anything in those areas, don't wait, just get checked out. And so we come to some sort of other big ones like your hormones, your hair, your skin. Lots of women around 3 to 4 months will start to notice that their hair starts to fall out. And it can be quite shocking. I've been there, like seeing patches in your scalp that you hadn't seen before. But this is, again, unfortunately normal that you experience some hair shedding at about 3 to 4 months after the baby's born. You might notice that your skin changes as well. And you've got all this hormones that are like making you glow, giving you that pregnancy glow. And as the hormones drop off, your changes in the skin will appear. And even with the hormones dropping off, you might notice some changes in your mood. So baby blues in the first week or so is not unusual. But again, everything that's normal can often go to the extreme, like I imagine that you've noticed in this video, and become abnormal. So what would be abnormal is if you're getting really severe hair loss, your weight's changing, you're having palpitations of fatigue. That might be due to thyroid conditions. And again, that's so underestimated because women are going through so much change. We're not looking for other things that might be wrong with you. So the thyroid is a gland that sits in the neck and can sometimes go through changes after a baby's born and can cause any of those symptoms, including excessive hair loss. When it comes to your mood, it would be normal to experience things like brain fog initially, forgetfulness, being quite sensitive emotionally, because again, you have gone through such a big change. You're probably not sleeping. You're having to deal with the newness of having a baby. And it's really hard to know if it's a hormone shift or sleep deprivation. And the two could go hand in hand and cause those symptoms that I've mentioned. But what is not normal, feeling detached from your baby, having constant anxiety or panic. I have a video that I will link on postpartum anxiety being almost as common as postpartum depression, but not really spoken about as much, where you've got constant thoughts running around your head, making your sleep even worse, coupled with things like intrusive thoughts or frightening thoughts, or even thoughts of wanting to harm yourself. I would strongly advise that you don't try and be strong or put up with it, but seek help at the earliest opportunity. So you might find that going to a midwife or a doctor is just too much a task for you at that point. But maybe speaking to your partner or speaking to your friend would be a useful person so that you can get those things checked out. And overall, the biggest mistake that we make about the 4th trimester is that recovery is a short period. That's not true. Recovery takes as long as it needs to take, as long as you have the right support and you're not suppressing, pushing down, or ignoring any of the things that I've listed above in this video. And I think when you understand that some of these changes are normal and some of these changes are abnormal and do need flagging, then you begin to lean into the recovery process and not fight it, because you've gone through such a huge change in your body, in your identity, in your mind, and it therefore needs to be given the time that it deserves. So if you've not heard about this free guide enough in this video, I would say download it. The link is down below, and also subscribe to this channel, because I really am here to help women like you figure out pregnancy, postpartum and beyond. And that's what we'll be doing here. If there's anything that you have specifically gone through in this video that you want to share, drop it in the comments down below, because you don't know who else might be helped by seeing that. And I know that I talked about a lot of topics in this video, and my future content will be breaking them down one by one so that I can give you more information. But until my next video,